Once upon a time, in the land of Egypt, there lived a pharaoh named Ramses. He was a powerful and mighty ruler, known to his people as a wise and just leader. His kingdom prospered, and the people of Egypt lived in peace and harmony. However, this story is not about Ramses. It is about the pharaoh who came before him, a man named Firoun. Firoun was a pharaoh who ruled Egypt long before Ramses' time. He was a different kind of ruler, one whose name would be remembered for very different reasons. Firoun was a proud and arrogant man who believed that he was a god. He demanded that his subjects worship him and built statues and temples in his honor all across Egypt. He saw himself as the most powerful being in the world, and he made sure everyone knew it. As the years passed, Firoun's arrogance and tyranny grew. He oppressed the people of Egypt, forcing them into hard labor and taxing them heavily. He enslaved thousands, making them toil under the hot sun to build his grand monuments and palaces. But the people's spirits were not easily broken. They prayed to their gods for deliverance from Firoun's cruelty. Among the people of Egypt, there lived a man named Moses. Moses was born to Hebrew parents, but was raised in the palace of Firoun as an adopted son. As he grew older, he became increasingly aware of the suffering of his people. He could not stand to see the oppression they endured under Firoun's rule. One day, as Moses was wandering in the desert, he encountered a burning bush. To his astonishment, the bush was not consumed by the flames. From the bush, a voice spoke to him, the voice of the one true God, Yahweh. God told Moses that he had been chosen to lead the Hebrew people out of Egypt and away from the oppressive rule of Firoun. Moses returned to the palace and confronted Firoun, demanding that he release the Hebrews from slavery. Firoun, filled with anger and arrogance, refused. In response, God sent a series of plagues upon Egypt, each more devastating than the last. Locusts, frogs, and darkness enveloped the land, but still, Firoun would not yield. It was not until the final, most dreadful plague that Firoun's heart began to soften. The firstborn sons of Egypt were struck down, including Firoun's own son. Grief-stricken and desperate, Firoun finally relented, and he allowed the Hebrew people to leave Egypt. Moses led the Hebrews through the wilderness, guided by God's presence. Firoun, his pride wounded, soon regretted his decision and pursued them with his armies. The Hebrews reached the shores of the Red Sea, but they were trapped, with the sea before them and Firoun's army behind them. In a miraculous moment, God parted the waters of the Red Sea, allowing the Hebrews to cross to the other side safely. When Firoun's armies attempted to pursue, the waters closed in on them, drowning the pharaoh and his soldiers. Firoun's reign of tyranny and arrogance came to a tragic end that day. The Hebrews were finally free, and Moses, under God's guidance, led them to a new land, the Promised Land. Firoun's name would forever be associated with the folly of pride and oppression, a warning to all about the dangers of arrogance and cruelty.